We begin with breaking news. The mother of two missing children now back in Rexburg, Idaho. Now, we've learned Lori Vallow landed in a small chartered plane from Boise just a few minutes ago.
She'll now face charges related to the disappearance of her two children, J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan. Fox 13's Adam Herbetz is in Rexburg, Idaho now. Adam.
Well, Max, Kelly, the van just pulled in minutes ago into this Sally Port at the Madison County Sheriff's Office Women's Detention Center. We knew that her path from Hawaii back to Rexburg would be a complicated one. Her flight itinerary was completely private due to security concerns. If they wanted to do the most straightforward way, they likely would have flown from Hawaii into Salt Lake City and then into Idaho Falls. Instead, they took a much more complicated path that started at LAX, flying from Hawaii to Los Angeles International Airport. From there, we learned that she flew from LAX to Boise, Idaho, and then got onto that small charter plane, landed here close to Rexburg, got into a van, and just minutes ago has been pulled in to the jail where she will be booked and is getting ready to face charges related to the disappearance of her two children. That's 7-year-old Joshua Vallow, JJ, and 17-year-old Tylee Ryan. Now, earlier today, we were able to speak to JJ's grandparents. Remember, they're the ones who have really been the face of this story in the sense of A, being the first people to report their kids missing, and B, being probably the most outspoken couple in terms of trying to find them, raise media attention, and get the word out there for somebody to hopefully find these two kids who have been missing now for more than 5 months. Although Lori is here, that is good news for those hoping that it will result in finding those two kids. The grandparents tell me their goal isn't to see Lori in handcuffs. That does not give them joy. What they want to see is the kids, and they are hoping tomorrow at her hearing at 2 p.m. for the first time in front of an Idaho judge, perhaps Chad Daybell walks into the courtroom with the kids. That would give them a lot more joy than seeing Lori in handcuffs or to see Lori convicted of any criminal charge. We're going to have some more for you coming up today at 5 o'clock and at 5:30 from JJ's grandparents. But for now, we are live in Rexburg on Breaking News. I'm Adam Herbetz. We'll throw it back to you in the studio.
Adam, thank you for the update. The FBI and Rexburg Police Department are asking anyone that visited Yellowstone National Park on September 8th of last year, 2019, to submit photos and video that may assist them in the investigation into the disappearance of 17-year-old Tylee Ryan and 7-year-old Joshua J.J. Vallow. The FBI says the children were in Yellowstone National Park on that date with her mother, Lori Vallow Daybell, as well as Lori's brother, Alex Cox. They say the group were traveling in a silver 2017 Ford F-150 pickup with Arizona license plate. That license plate, CPQUINT.
All right, we're here with defense attorney Greg Skordas. Greg, thank you for joining us. This is a case that people are following so closely and so troubled because while we're watching this court drama play out, we have no idea where these kids are. And I wonder, as a defense attorney, have you ever been in a position where you've been a middleman between someone and evidence that could be critical to recovering someone like this?
It's kind of what we do all the time, where we sit down and say, look, you have the keys to the jail, so to speak, in your pocket. Just tell them where the children are or bring the children to court. And she's had that opportunity, as you know. We've talked about it before, where she was subpoenaed to the Idaho court some time ago, and it was a sort of a welfare check, for lack of a better word, and they said, come and produce the children and everything will be fine. Not only did she not produce the children, she didn't even show up in the court, and that's why they had to extradite her from Hawaii in the first place.
Back to Idaho. We know she will face an Idaho judge tomorrow, Friday, at 2 p.m. What will that be like? What can we expect?
So that's just a first appearance. So she's charged with 5 counts. The 2 most serious ones are the desertion of the children, and they carry up to 14 years in prison. She's also got 3 misdemeanors. So she'll just be held to answer to those, so to speak. They'll set the conditions of her release if they want to adjust bail, which seems unlikely. If she needs an attorney, they'll appoint one. although she seems to have funds, so she probably won't qualify. And then they'll schedule the next hearing, which may be a preliminary hearing or something like that.
I'm going to ask for our viewers forbearance for me in making something. I don't want to make this assumption, and yet at the same time, I wonder, how long are these kids missing before prosecutors say, you know what, we don't believe these kids are alive anymore, and we're going to call this a murder case, and we're going to charge you with murder? Can they do that?
Yeah, and I think they've already crossed that threshold. I mean, I think they brought her back, and she will be charged with murder. That's probably just a matter of days or maybe weeks. But these kids have been missing since September. No one has seen them. And you just showed something, Kelly just talked about the fact that the FBI is looking for people that may have been in Yellowstone
just
around
by
that period of time.
happenstance.
That's the last time they were seen. Well, that's now 5 or 6 months. So you're right. We probably do assume the worst at this point, and I assume that she'll be facing those charges.
What's the likelihood FBI and police have more evidence than what we know right now?
100%. They know a lot more. They disclosed a lot in that search warrant or that probable cause statement that we saw for her arrest, but the FBI's got a lot more information. They've pinned down some things, and I think what they're hoping for is that now that she's in custody and the bail is so high, that she's going to come forward, like you talked about a minute ago, and say, look, I don't want to spend the rest of my life in prison. What is it that you want? And the answer to that question is, where are the kids, dead or alive?
Oh, gosh, it is such a troubling thing. I have a million more questions, and we're out of time.
I know. Really quickly, Chad Daybell. How come he's not in custody as well, Greg? I think a lot of people are wondering.
It's a great question. It's a matter of time. Okay. It's just a matter of time. He'll be hooked up next. Okay. You watch.
Wow.
We will wait and see.
We're going to have more conversations like this. Thank you, Greg.
We'll continue to cover the extradition and now case of Lori Vallow Daybell here on Fox 13 and on our website at fox13now.com.